Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
I'm good, David. I'm all ready for this. I got me mineral, I got me scissors, ready to go.
What kind of a podcast is this if you brought scissors to it? This is our episode on the newest film entitled Wonka. Before we jump into Wonka, as always, we have a spectacular trailer to talk about. Brian, with our trailer of the week, what have you got for us?
Aren't you just loving the catalogue that Prime Video's doing these days and what have they come? You know, they have The Boys and Invincible. Yeah, maybe not everyone liked the Rings of Power, but they've got God of War coming up as a show, and while I very much want Jaimon Hansu to play Kratos, that's a discussion for another time, but for now, we've got the other video game adaptation they're doing for next year, April, Fallout. And the main draw for me is, well, two draws. Video game adaptation, and it's got a lot of money behind it, Amazon, and from the people who brought us Westworld. So busy minds putting themselves to work. And the other main draw for me is Walton Goggins. You see him on screen, I'm just initially interested from the get-go. So I saw the trailer, I liked it.
Yeah, it's not a video game that I don't think either of us have played, but
Neither of us.
It's one that we're still we're still both very interested in it and to see where it's going. It's interesting because I think I read an interview with Todd Howard who said that the series is canon to the games, so it's not like a direct adaptation of any of the games, but it's a like continuation, like it exists within the world of the games, which I think is an interesting take on it, as opposed to something like maybe The Last of Us, which is a direct one-to-one take on it, or Halo, which is it seems like an alternate universe kind of adaptation, but Fallout is like a direct companion show to the games.
Yeah, even as opposed to being just a new story within the environment or the setting or the world of the game. And maybe that's what this is. Just still maybe a couple of Easter eggs here and there. Like I don't expect there to be any specific characters from the games in this show. There might be a collection of characters from groups or communities or organizations, and we might get main characters from there. Like I know, for example, there are these characters called ghouls. Now, I don't know any characters from the games who are ghouls, but I do know that Walton Goggins is playing a ghoul. And maybe, like you said, this can easily take place within the world of the games, canon, just its own story. So, and yeah, you're right, neither of us have played Fallout. Like, I know a little bit more of Gears of War, as opposed to this, and Fallout I might just confuse that with Metal Gear Solid or something like that, but you know, these like sci-fi action whatever you call it games that they just sort of collage together in the same sort of category of expectations I would have if they were to announce a adaptation. And like I said, Gears of War is getting an adaptation from Netflix, hopefully, and my expectations will be the same, subject that they don't cancel it after a first season. And I think Metal Gear Solid is getting a movie adaptation with Oscar Isaac in it, and same level of enthusiasm, so long as it looks good. So yeah, the video game genre adaptation is going big. I know we did a little discussion on it when we discussed Super Mario Brothers earlier this year. If you want to go back and listen to that on our podcast, just go find it in the first half of our listed episodes. Please do. But yeah, Fallout. Looking forward to it.
Brilliant. So I think we'll jump into our main feature then of this episode, which is the Wonka, the new adaptation from Warner Brothers. This is our third iteration of the Wonka character, first portrayed by Gene Wilder all the way back in the 70s for the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or was it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I think that one was Willy Wonka. No, was it? I think that one was Willy Wonka.
It was
and the
Willy
Chocolate
Wonka.
Factory.
It was Willy Wonka.
Yeah. And then we had Johnny Depp taking it on in the early 2000s in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That was Charlie, yeah.
That was Charlie. And then this one now is a fully dedicated Wonka movie.
Yeah.
He's the main star of the show.
Yeah, Wonka and no Charlie in the factory.
Yeah, and no grandparents who miraculously jump out of their bed as soon as their grandchild wins a golden ticket. I always had a problem with that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see Grandpa Joe's not here. I thought he was such a sponger. The four of them in the bed, which they're obviously, you know, poverty stricken, not good. You're having to share a bed with, like, presumably if it's your son, like his wife's parents. Like, it's such an odd situation. Then as soon as your grandkids win something, you're jumping out of the bed. I'll take him. I'll go. He could be out there working. He doesn't have to be on his feet all day. He could have a sit down job. I think he was such a sponger in both iterations.
So you're talking about both iterations. Well,
the first one especially.
Okay.
Because that man, even though he was portrayed as an older man, he definitely was only like in his maybe 60s, like late 60s. In the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, in the Johnny Depp one, he was on death's door. He was okay. He could have been in bed. He was allowed to be in bed. But look, come here. We're getting off topic now. Okay, let's talk about Wonka. Okay, this Timothée Chalamet headed movie. We didn't see this one together, so I don't think either of us really know what we think.
No, I thought it was nice.
Yeah, I agree. It was nice.
I'm sorry, I just want to go back to Grandpa Joe there because, yeah, you know, you're right, I do agree. But when I think of Grandpa Joe, it's Joe, right? Grandpa Joe? Right, so at the end of that first movie, when Willy Wonka is shunning them out, showing them the door, good day, when Grandpa Joe and Wonka are having that argument, and their faces are going red, and you see the veins in them. I'm sorry, but Grandpa Joe, he'd win in a boxing match.
Absolutely. So he shouldn't have been in bed. He shouldn't have been out working.
But
he shouldn't have been.
But the rage in his face because he wanted something for his grandson. Maybe he could sponge off after it, yeah, but Grandpa Joe. Yeah, Grandpa Joe. Anyway, enough of that. Grandpa Joe is he wasn't even in this movie. There was no like old man or woman who could have easily been teased as Grandpa Joe and his wife. So none of that really. And you know, come to think of it, there wasn't a whole lot of, look kids, see Easter eggs. You know, there wasn't a bright light in the air, and there's a bunch of little mini fans, like, you know, the fans with the spin, you know, to give you, to, you know, renewing the air in your face. Yeah, they weren't all getting excited looking up the, you know, the, oh look, something sparkly up there, Easter eggs, you know. Specifically what I mean by that is I watched the trailer, right? The trailers for this movie, and I thought, oh, Willy Wonka is holding a number of balloons that the movie Up had, and he's going around on the roof of some castle building with his friend, Noodle, is almost like a protege or apprentice, and they're floating quite easily. Maybe they drank the stuff that maked you
fizzy lifting drink.
Yeah, I thought from the first movie. You know, I thought that was nice little callback that to have a nice moment. I bet is what I'm thinking. No. The balloons lift them up. No bother. So that was that. Okay, and in the trailer again, I noticed that Keegan-Michael Key, an American, playing chief of police in what we're led to believe either France or England setting. So he's gaining an awful lot away from all the chocolate he's eating. We know that from the trailer. He's got a sweet tooth. Oh, I wonder if he's like taking an early prototype chewing gum that makes him swell up like a blueberry, except it doesn't give him the colour. You know, I thought that would be one of those things. Oh, cool, a nice little Easter egg, a call back from the original. No. He's just gaining a lot of weight to the point where it may as well be a cartoon. Now, maybe I might sound like I'm disappointed in that, but I'm not really. They weren't pandering us to the Easter eggs, and those Easter eggs would have been fine if the movie was still the same. But it's okay, they weren't doing that. And even the Oompa Loompa, and we can talk about him later, but just briefly here, he wasn't in the movie a whole lot. Like the 3-4 scenes max. So this movie did its best to stand on its own, I think. And Timothée Chalamet, he was a good Wonka, and even though he seemed to be more like of a younger Gene Wilder Wonka, I look at this movie and I don't think that's what this is. This is just its own thing, and rather than doing another Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie where Timothée Chalamet, although he would be young, plays Willy Wonka, no, instead they want to tell a story about a young Wonka, and that's what they do here. It's almost like another book that has gotten multiple adaptations. Little Women, right? Right, so in all of the adaptations in the movies of Little Women, instead of doing another movie about the four sisters, they do a prequel about their neighbour, who was an old man, when he was young, and how he became wealthy, and how he got married and maybe lost his wife, and how he has his grandson. And because in all the Little Women movies they have their wealthy neighbour, an old lonely man, and it's Mr. Lawrence, I think his name is. So instead of the studio who owns the rights to Little Women, instead of doing another Little Women movie, they do a Mr. Lawrence, like when he was young. Or another case, much easier example I can give you, is when they did Oz the Great and Powerful, a prequel of The Wizard of Oz to the movie The Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? That's what they did here with Wonka.
In the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, he is portrayed a bit more mysterious, I think. He's like a character that you want to know more of, but he keeps everyone at arm's length. And then in the Johnny Depp one, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he's very much like a madman, kind of like he's crazy, like a weirdo. But this version kind of finds the line between the two, in that because he is the main character, it's hard to keep him as a mysterious character because we're following him as opposed to following Charlie, and scenes just also feature Wonka. So when he's presented as the main character, they kind of portray him as more of a, like, I would kind of nearly compare him to like a Mary Poppins, like kind of a fantastical creature, do you know? Like, he's still grounded in reality, but just the things around him are a bit more magical and fantastical and exaggerated. So he's not as mysterious as Gene Wilder, but he's not crazy or weird as Johnny Depp portrayed him. He's kind of right in the middle there of seeing this now being his origin story, but if we were to see him later on, he could very much become that kind of Gene Wilder type where he's a recluse and you don't know as much about him and he keeps people at arm's length because maybe something happened. But I think you're right with what you were saying there about the not having the callbacks to either the original film or the Johnny Depp one, because I think it would have been very easy to do either of those, and they did a little tiny bit, and it was my only gripe with it, which was when they used the pure imagination motif kind of throughout.
Not just the motif, but
no. Well, see, I didn't mind it towards the end when he sang it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that feels. I wasn't expecting it now, but now that you've done it, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, he's doing his own version of it. But using the motif throughout just felt a little bit like you're cheapening it. Like, if they had used it less, and I wasn't thinking about that song throughout, like, when are they going to be using this, then it would have been a bit more impactful towards the end. But not having the references to, like that you were saying with the police officer or the fizzy lifting drink or stuff like that, I think it was able then to stand on its own. And if at a later point we do have a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, then it can very much be its own stylized, like this movie, very family friendly, very fantastical, a bit more magical, as opposed to the grounded version of kind of either of them. I keep referring to the second one as the Johnny Depp one, but it was a Tim Burton movie. Don't forget, I think we haven't even mentioned that. But both of those are grounded in different ways. The first one being very realistic, and the second one being like Tim Burton-esque. Do you know? So I wouldn't mind seeing a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory version of this Wonka at a later point. I'm not in any rush to see it, but a little bit later on, definitely.
I don't know.
And you don't know?
No, I don't think this is a Timothy Chalamet thing to do years down the line, to go reprise his role as Willy Wonka, to do the Willy Wonka story we all know, which involves the 5 kids going to the chocolate factory. I don't think that's what he wants to do. I think the main draw really was to do a young Wonka. I think that mainly was the main draw. And just like any movie, we don't need it. But I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, in a way, it does feel like Warner Brothers kind of looking at their cast of characters that they have, like, what do we have the rights to, and them landing on Wonka and go, okay, do we need a third Charlie and the Chocolate Factory adaptation? Oh well, let's switch it around. Let's do Wonka here. Like, I don't think that we'll see. I wouldn't be mad to see. Or no, what way am I trying to phrase this? I wouldn't necessarily need it to be Timothée Chalamet again. Like, say in 5 years, if you wanted to do a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, you could cast someone else and just age him up. It's fine. I'm sure Timothée Chalamet doesn't want to be returning to Wonka 25 years down the line to finally make the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. But I could see definitely a new adaptation in this style, a bit more fantastical, a bit more magical, as opposed to the other two ones. But I don't need it to be Timothée Chalamet either.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just, you're making me think of Ryan Gosling, because I remember way back when this movie was announced, before they announced who the cast was, I thought, I heard Ryan Gosling's name being uttered around somewhere, and I thought he'd make a real swell Willy Wonka. I think Ryan Gosling would, but not in this adaptation. Not in this one. This adaptation is very much suited to Timothée Chalamet's Wonka. And it's interesting as well, because he's a type of Wonka, is in his own way gullible, believing that there's no meanness or badness or corruptness in people. Can't read. And he just loves making chocolate. He doesn't even need to be good at it. He just loves it. He's enthusiastic about it, and I liked that. It was nice, and just like the theme of my opinion for this movie, it was all nice, all of it. But then again, the Oompa Loompa in this movie is way too small compared to the Gene Wilder ones. So, I think they got away with using a normal heighted actor in Hugh Grant instead of casting a small person or a dwarf, as that's who the Oompa Loompas were played in the previous 2 movies. So I think they got away with it a little bit, because this Oompa Loompa was small beyond. It was all digital in the end, and you could see the effects, but it was innocent enough. Like, it didn't turn me off or anything. It was fine. It wasn't really uncanny valley or anything.
I think it fit the world that was set up.
Yeah,
Do you know?
and there still was quite a lot of like CGI, to the point where, I don't know, I just wouldn't have minded to see a bit of an actual chocolate river. I'm not talking, for example, at the end when he's imagining his factory. I'm talking about when he makes that scrubbing mechanism. The Willy Wonka working machine with the dog on the treadmill. Not that. Like that.
Yeah.
That was a bit of. You can see all the CGI in that a little bit. I'm not gonna criticize CGI in this anymore. They're underworked. Sorry, they're overworked and underpaid. Yeah, strike that, reverse it. Yeah.
You've been saying that since the trailer came out, so I think
Yeah.
Wonka's had a little bit more influence on you than you think. Do you want to jump into some flashbacks?
Yeah. I just like how he says it. Strike that, reverse it. And you know what? Gene Wilder said the same thing in the previous movie as well. So they were targeting our nostalgia from the original.
Absolutely.
But they still didn't commit to other things. Like, how great would it have been if Keegan Michael Key, the chief of police, did eat the not the gobstopper, the thing that you won Violet Beauregard ate and it made her swell up like a blueberry. I thought that would have been
chewing
cool.
gum.
Chewing gum. If he ate that and it made him swell up, except it just didn't make him blue. It's an early model of it, and that it just would have been nice to see some of his earlier inventions, maybe.
Well, I have a counterpoint to that, but I'll get into it after the flashbacks. Laura, play that jingle. Thank you, Laura. So, we've got some flashbacks for Wonka. So, flashback number 1. Did you know that Tom Holland and Timothée Chalamet were the two finalists for the role of Willy Wonka, with Chalamet ultimately winning the role?
Yeah, I knew that. Not just that, though. I thought I heard Childish Gambino was a potential run-in.
Brian, you've just provided me with something that I didn't know I wanted, but now I desperately wish I had. But I definitely think Timothée Chalamet, he just fits the character way better than I think Tom Holland would. Not that Tom Holland is a bad actor by any stretch, but Timothée Chalamet fits this a lot better.
I think between Tom and Timothy would have been better. I think I can understand what Tom's portrayal of Willy Wonka would have been, but Timothy was. I prefer Timothy in this role. Some roles I prefer Tom in, but Wonka was one that suited Timothy.
Flashback number 2 then. So the design of the Oompa Loompas is taken straight out of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the first adaptation of the novel. The original novel has no specific descriptions of the Oompa Loompas, except that they have knee-length height, have long hair, and speak their own language. So it was very much like a decision, I think, of the original movie to have them be orange-skinned and green hair. And then that's not present at all in the Tim Burton version. It's just a small actor repeated over and over and over again. And then so in this one, they've obviously gone with that original, not the original design, but the design kind of presented by the Gene Wilder version.
Still, they got one more up because this guy really was knee height. And I thought, well, okay, I wasn't arguing about it, and he seemed to be bilingual because he was able to talk quite good English.
Yeah, I think that it was to be honest, when I think of an Oompa Loompa, I do think orange face, green hair.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it, that's kind of, it's the more preferred mental image that I would go for, would be that version, the original version. So to have this, like, when you're in a situation now where CGI is to the level that it is, where, like, it looks just as good as real life. Like, if you presented that to an alien and said, yeah, we have these on Earth, oh, okay, then I'm sure that they would believe it. So you can kind of standardize, what an Oompa Loompa looks like, because go back and watch them, like, it's all just, short people that are all dressed up in the thing, and they all vary kind of in height and size and shape and stuff, but having CGI Oompa Loompas just kind of look all the same seems to be kind of what they were going for, really. And then flashback number 3. This lends to my thought that the fact that we are going to be seeing Timothée Chalamet at a later point in a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. Did you know that this is the first installment in the, and I'm deadly serious, the Roald Dahl cinematic universe? We have the MCU, we have the DCEU, and now we have the RDCU, the Roald Dahl cinematic universe. It is unknown if this movie will connect to the Witches of 2020. So this Wonka movie is the first official. This is the Iron Man. This is the Man of Steel. This is the Mummy equivalent to the Roald Dahl cinematic universe. How do you feel about that?
The same way I feel about Tom Cruise's The Mummy in 2017.
Why? Why does everything need to be a cinematic universe? Why can't we just have movies?
What are they going to do? They're going to have the Wonka and the BFG and the Hero Mouse and what
and
the
Nick
fuck
Fury's
else is
going to come in.
Yeah,
Nick Fury at the end.
And they're going to go Dahl's Road.
Dolls rolled out.
I like that.
That's a good one. That's Transformers be there. And that brings an end to our flashback section. Laura, play us out of here so we can get to the second half of the episode. Thank you, Laura. So yeah, I wanted to talk then, like you were saying there, about the police officer gaining all the weight. I thought one aspect of this movie that I found it quite funny, to be honest, because really when you say, oh, we're going to tell the origin story of Willy Wonka, you're like, okay. When that was first announced, I assumed that we would get, like, you know, the bits we got in flashback of Wonka, like getting the cocoa beans and stuff like that. I thought it was going to be a whole story about that, like finding, like, Willy Wonka going out into the jungle and that kind of stuff. But when you present this movie and you kind of say, like, how would you describe this movie? And its use of chocolate, I thought it was very funny to nearly compare it to drugs. And that chocolate is a drug, and we have a drug cartel in these three other chocolatiers, and they have the police under wraps. They're paying them in drug money, aka chocolate, and the commissioner of the police, Keegan-Michael Key's character, that he's such a heavy user that he's actually gaining weight over the course of the movie. Like I just thought it was very, very funny to present chocolate, like, because realistically it's a bar of chocolate, like how good can it be? But when you present it that chocolate in this world might as well be drugs, I just thought that was the best way to present it. And the only criticism I have over it is I don't think anyone, I just would have liked to see them eating actual just bars of chocolate, like when everyone was eating stuff and none of it looked like chocolate. You're just kind of told, oh yeah, this is chocolate, like they're eating chocolate flowers and they're eating clouds and all this other stuff in the shop. But I would have just liked to see them eat also normal chocolate bars, like, do you know,
there's no dairy milks in here, there's no Wuspers,
no,
there's no flakes.
You just want to see like when he opens the bar of chocolate at the end that his mom made, like that was like the first, I felt like that was the first bar of chocolate I'd seen in this movie about chocolate. Like even when he makes the jars of sweets that have the hummingbirds or humming flies or whatever it is, and the one that the Oompa Loompa keeps stealing, like even those were green and they didn't look like chocolate.
Yeah, so, the chocolate here, they're very much presented as sweets or candy in the form of chocolate. Yeah. There was no chocolate bars, essentially. There's that's pretty much it. Like, you know, they're all small little things. And to be honest, David, that's not how I want my chocolate. I want my chocolate in a brick.
You're a chocolate connoisseur. You are a man who loves chocolate,
and I can live the rest of my life without it.
Yeah, you've got a grasp. Maybe for you, maybe this allegory that I've created is a bit hitting too close to home. Like chocolate was like a drug to you. Like, yeah, I know you love. What's your top 3 chocolate bars? Off topic. What's your top 3 if you had to pick?
Wuspa, Galaxy, Solid Galaxy, and Kinder Bueno.
I think that's a safe top 3, absolutely. I don't think you're going to get any.
I'm not picking something mad crazy like the star chocolates, you know, the one with the faces, or or a Maltesers, you know, like this is not a chocolate bar. This is a packet of chocolate things inside it, you know. That's what.
So I think that I would have liked to see just that in the movie, like actual chocolate bars.
Yeah. But
brown chocolate.
Yeah, Sir David, in the first 2 Willy Wonka movies, there was like 3, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, In each movie, as the story unfolds, Charlie gets his hands on 3 separate chocolate bars. The first 2, in attempts to get a golden ticket, failed. The third one did. And sometimes he ate that block of chocolate, and yeah, that's how you're supposed to eat your chocolate. And then at the end, with the My TV room where he eats the chocolate there, yeah, bar of chocolate. You know, that's how chocolate is supposed to be. You don't buy it in like a small circle. That's not satisfying. That's just, please sir, I want more. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, like you said that, like you want a bar of chocolate. Like I would describe it as, if someone said get me, like you can't even describe it any other way. Like, oh, get me some chocolate. No, get me a bar of chocolate.
It's like ordering a beer and they come back with a shot.
Yeah.
And it's not a shot of vodka. It's a beer. It's a shot in the shop.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. So I would have liked to see that, but like that, I think that it was very clever to establish within the world that chocolate is the equivalent to drugs here. Like that is how serious these people are about their chocolate.
Yeah, and
because that's how you justify having multiple chocolate shops across the mart from each other. You know, they were in the little square. But yeah, no, sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, but I agree. I actually like it. I don't have anything critical to say about it. I don't have anything at all bad to say about it. I liked it. To go one thing further with the Chocolatiers, they did come across as quite campy and flamboyant. And you know what? I wasn't all that bothered by it. And if I was, it was actually from the 2 guys. One of them played by Matt Hill, who looks like a fucking Nazi, and the other man who looks like a racist. But the main guy, Slugworth, that's a name I remember from the Chocolate Factory movies. I believe that wasn't really Slugworth in the original movie, the tall man with the bowler hat with the glasses.
No, he worked for Slugworth. I'm the same though. I always thought that was Slugworth.
Yeah,
because that name fits him, doesn't it?
It does. To me, that guy is Slugworth. But anyway, this guy, Slugworth in this movie, as weird as he came across in this movie, and flamboyant and campy he came across in this movie, and just careless that he has a niece that he couldn't give 2 shits about it. I liked him in this movie. I really liked him. The Slugworth was cool. Like he knew what he wanted, and what he wanted he tried to get, and that was it. And yeah, I liked him, and just wanted to give a
clear,
quick shout
simple
out to the villain of this movie. By the way, this movie had a lot of villains. We had the 3 Chocolatiers, we had the Chief of Police, we had Mrs. Scrubbit, played by Oscar-winning Olivia Colman, and the big guy with the fucked up teeth and the weird mustache, and looks built like a shit house, but yeah. So there were quite a few villains in this movie, and they were all mostly the main characters of the cast as well. And Mr. Bean, he was a villain as well.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about Rowan Atkinson. This is it was good to have him back. He seems like he fit the world as well. Do you know that kind of way? Like having certain characters definitely fit it, and I think the likes of Rowan Atkinson, Sally Hawkins playing Wonka's mother. She definitely fits it. Olivia Colman in that makeup as well. Like, just I have a real disdain. I really hate it. Like, and it's a thing of like the movie did this well.
Is this the teeth, David? Are you talking about?
No, it's not. It's I hate when there's a character who's just like pure evil, like cartoonishly evil, and I've put you in a situation now that you cannot get out of, and like she just did it so well that she's like, oh, you owe me 10 grand for staying in the room tonight, and I'm like, oh, I hate you. Like, the only way I can describe it is I get the same feeling when I'm watching a series of unfortunate events. Have you ever seen that for Netflix?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. There's something about like when the kids are trying to explain to the parents, or not the parents, but the the adults. Anytime an adult, if they go to them and say, "Oh, it's Count Olaf," and they're like, "Don't be silly, that's not Count Olaf," and I'm like, "It is." Like the little kid inside me shouting, like, "Come on!" So I just have a real disdain for characters like that. Like, not a disdain, but more so like my inner kid is going like, "No, they're evil. I hate them. Stop." But she was absolutely like that, where I'm just like, oh, I just hope she gets her comeuppance in the end, and then they always get it in some cartoonish way. It's to match their own cartoonish antics.
What did you think of the music and the songs?
That was something that we haven't really discussed. There was none that really stood out to me, as like, oh, this is really, really good. Nothing that I would seek out afterwards to listen again to. Like, for example, have you seen Roald Dahl's Matilda, the musical, for Netflix?
I walked out.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I walked out when I saw it in cinema.
Okay, well, maybe that's not the best example. But when I did watch that, there are a few songs that I've gone back to from that because I like the songs. But moving on from that, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up bad memories. But I don't think that they were present here. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the songs. They were a welcome presence within the world. I couldn't imagine these songs being in either of the other two versions.
Well, you know what? I didn't mind that. I like musicals when I like the songs. And I like the songs when the songs are fun. I generally don't like songs in musicals when the songs are played off as childish or for the youngsters, where you're supposed to laugh at a few things in the song to make the youngsters laugh, but for me that will take me out of the ride I'm getting by listening to the song. But here it wasn't too bad, not at all actually. Like the Scrub song, I haven't gone to seek it out, but I laughed when the dog roughed Scrub, you know, like that in that one moment, because every between every verse everyone would shout Scrub, and the dog did it, and then I laughed because it took me a minute to think, oh yeah, that fish, you know, cool. And I thought the Sweet Tooth song where the Chocolatiers are singing to the Chief of Police, I like Keegan-Michael Key's responses to their claims and why he should just, you know, eat chocolate and commit crimes. But there are, you know, the rest of the songs not really stand out to me, but the Oompa Loompa song from Hugh Grant, I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. A bit similar to the Scrub. Just about funny, that it wouldn't take me out of it, that I can ride the joy of it.
That does scratch a little nostalgia itch when he starts, because it is the classic just Oompa Loompa, and when he starts like going up and down, he's like, no, I've started dancing, I can't stop now. You know, it's like it's an involuntary thing that he has to do it now. It's like, sorry, I cannot stop.
And you just accept it for what it is. Like that there's nothing. But you're not questioning it why you accept it. It's a similar situation as to why you come across a talking bear and it's just another Tuesday, you know?
Yeah.
Paddington is what I'm
absolutely,
to, which is also directed by the director of this movie. So, but enough of that for a second. I have gone back to listen to Timothée Chalamet sing Pure Imagination.
Yeah.
Because I you can tell by the trailers they were doing like a bit of an orchestral version of the song. Oh, cool! It'd be nice to hear that again in a new rendition. And I really liked it. It felt more uplifting and more fun and more joyful as opposed to slow and somber, which was done by Gene Wilder.
Absolutely. Different context.
Yeah, different context, different lyrics, I think. But that I think I like Timothy. I will go back to listen to Timothy Chalamet is more because it's more fun to listen to, and I can enjoy that a little bit more. Which I liked it. It was nice, good. That was bravo, well done. Is what I say.
And just as you said there with Paul King, the director, he also did the Paddington movies. I think that was a clever choice. That those movies are very family friendly and very nice movies. They're very known for being heartwarming and nice, as we've been saying. And I think he was the right choice. Like, if Paddington had shown up, I nearly wouldn't have questioned it. You know, that's the world that was created.
I would question it. I would question it, but because it's not supposed to be. But it would make sense. And yes, it's not as if this is the only perfect director to make a Wonka movie, but it's one of the good options to choose from. Like, I'm not going to think of anyone off the top of my head, but I know he's someone who's good he's a good fit for this movie, because whatever movie this is destined to be, he's going to apply his skill set, his style, and his tone to it, therefore making it the perfect theme of this movie. Rightly so. He did a good job, and I seen Paddington years ago when I would see every movie. I wasn't drawn to it, and I haven't seen Paddington 2, and everyone says, even Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal, they say that Paddington 2 is great, and I'm just, no, I'm not going to watch this movie for the sake of everyone saying you have to watch it because it's a Paddington movie. So no, I'm not going to watch it, but this movie did make me take one or two steps closer to sitting down to watch it. But no. And like I said, they're not my type of movies. This movie is not my type of movie. But it was nice. I've nothing really that bad to say about it. It's just not my type of movie. But it was nice.
You know who else I think would have been a good fit, like we were saying there with like Sally Hawkins and Rowan Atkinson. Yeah. If Colin Firth had turned up. Yes. He absolutely would have fit this movie.
Absolutely. I very much agree with that. He would have fit right in. He is a great actor to steal the show.
Maybe he could have been the Grandpa Joe, the post-credit scene Grandpa Joe.
Yeah. Why not? Even just a little fun Easter egg. You could not really made him a character in the movie, or could you? Could you? He worked for Wonka in the factory, didn't he?
Probably, yeah. But you don't need to. I don't need. What is this? Some kind of Roald Dahl cinematic universe? I don't need that.
What is it? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
Don't say it. No. What is this? Some kind of family? You got any recommendations for us? I don't know about you. I think I'm ready to wrap this show up.
Well, I do want to just talk about. I think I just want to give one more little shout out to Hugh Grant playing an Oompa Loompa. I know we talked about his
traditional role.
Yeah, it was perfect for him. It was perfect. Yeah, of course, no brainer. Of course, he was the guy that played the Oompa Loompa. I'll tell you what I didn't care for and I didn't pay attention when he comes in to save the day and save the lives and all that. If anything, the only thing I did like about that sequence is when he would wave, yes, okay, whatever, and walked away because they're thanking him for saving his lives, and he's like, okay, stop talking now, to walk away. That's the only thing I like about it. I didn't take this movie seriously, is what I'm trying to say. But I did chuckle quite a few times when things were happening. So that was nice. Yeah. As this movie was. Yeah. Oh, and you said have I got any recommendations? Yeah, I got your fucking recommendation right here, man.
Go on. I like that we talk about a kid's family movie and they go, I got a fucking recommendation for you. Hit me with it.
Tim Burton's Wonka Factory movie. I think we should sit down and watch the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie.
I think it definitely has some good points in it. I think that the sequence with the squirrels is great in that movie. and I like that it does carry on a little bit after the actual tour with Wonka's, facing his dad and stuff like that, and his dad's
I remember thinking that, yeah. I remember thinking, this movie's going on a little bit too long after the Chocolate Factory. It feels like the fun's been drawn out. You must have thought that when you first saw the movie. Did you see the movie when it first came out, roughly?
Oh, yeah. That was, it was...
And did you like it?
Childhood was... I did, yeah. It was like almost, that. It was just different from the other one.
It's almost that this Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie was our movie to grow up with. No? Not for you?
Well, I had seen the original one a few times. Like it's kind of one of our well, not our, but I would always consider it a Christmas movie that's not a Christmas movie. Like it would always watch it at Christmas. So I'd seen it a load of times before. So I would consider that one to be the superior version and the one I would gravitate towards, having seen it more. But don't get me wrong, I've done against the Tim Burton version. It is a distinctive version that has some great parts in it as well and does some parts better. Definitely.
I remember watching it in my house growing up with my siblings, and I liked it. And I thought Willy Wonka, played by Johnny Depp, was really fun and really funny. And everything, his facial expressions were funny. And like the fact that it was Johnny Depp, because if there's a Johnny Depp role that Johnny Depp plays that is hidden under so much makeup, both practical and CGI, his portrayal of Willy Wonka is one where I go, how is that Johnny Depp? That's not Johnny Depp. It doesn't even look like Johnny Depp. It doesn't sound like Johnny Depp. How is that Johnny Depp? And it's like I can look at Jack Sparrow and know that's Johnny Depp, but not Willy Wonka.
I have the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, Willy Wonka is the most I think Johnny Depp looks like Johnny Depp.
Really?
Everything else he slips into the role for. But with Willy Wonka, it's because the only difference really is his hair. Whereas everything else I think he disappears into. So I'm on the flip for you.
Even as the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I think he slips away. Now, don't get me wrong, he does slip back in. There are sometimes I go, oh yeah, there's Johnny Depp there.
Yeah.
But it's not one that I'm actively thinking about compared to Willy Wonka.
Well, I even like the Oompa Loompa songs in that movie too. So they were all. I still listen to those songs. Those are songs I go back to, and Augustus, they sing this. The songs are their own takes. They do it themselves. They don't copy their own things on them. So no, I'm gonna recommend the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it's not a bad movie, and I don't know why people say it's a bad movie. I don't know why people love to hate it. Yeah. What's your recommendation, David?
I suppose if we are going for family-friendly movies to recommend, I will recommend The Incredibles. I've been going back over Pixar's catalogue, just going back over a few of them there that I haven't seen in a while, and Incredibles just stands up. It made in 2004, and it's just still a great family movie. It's a great superhero movie. It's just a great Pixar movie. There's not really much else to say on it, I don't think. I think probably most of our viewers or listeners even have probably seen The Incredibles. If you haven't, change that, and if you have, maybe go back and watch it again. It's probably one of those ones that you haven't seen in a long time, so go back and watch it again.
I think you're a dickhead if you don't like The Incredibles. That's just me.
That's your friendship litmus test. That's your if you don't like this, go away, get lost.
How can you not like it? I mean, come on.
I know.
Nah, you watch The Incredibles, you automatically think you're one of the characters in the movie. I always thought I was Dash.
What kid our age in 2004 didn't want to be Dash? Come on. And then as soon as you grow up, you're like, I want to be Frozone. He's actually the coolest,
Oh yeah, I get it. Because he's got the cool.
Oh, I didn't even realize I was making that joke. No, I just meant he was cool.
But but as soon as you get to The Incredibles 2, I want to be Bob.
I'm going back over them now, just in terms of like kind of nearly going through year by year. So I will get back to The Incredibles 2 soon. A couple I haven't seen. I haven't actually seen Brave and Turning Red. I think they're the only two that I haven't seen, but everything else is a rewatch. And I've only seen The Good Dinosaur once. I know that you're a huge fan of The Good Dinosaur, so I'm looking forward to seeing that again. I only saw it when it came out first. So
yeah, Turning Red that's a real good movie. And The Good Dinosaur was probably the only Pixar movie I cried at. So
wow, okay,
yeah,
I'll have to really focus on it when I'm watching. It's like what got Brian? What am I looking for here?
We can discuss about it for the next time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining me. Thank you so much to our listeners for listening. We are here every single Wednesday. Can you believe that we're here every single Wednesday?
No, but we are.
I don't believe it either. There's been some close calls sometimes, but we have consistently uploaded every single Wednesday. They are uploaded at midnight, so whenever you are waking up, you're rubbing your poor little eyes, you have to get up for work, you have to make that commute. Well, guess what? There's a new episode to listen to every single Wednesday when you wake up. If you would like to send in your opinions, your suggestions, your own reviews, anything, send them in to us at talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. We love discussing it. I don't know if you saw this, Brian. We got a great email there in the other day from someone we're going to be doing a bonus episode soon on. So looking forward to that. We do bonus episodes every now and again on the weekend, so make sure you're checking our feed. Make sure that you're up to date with us on all of our releases by following us on Instagram at Talking Pictures Pod. We're on Facebook. We are on X or Twitter, as you call it. All of our links are down in the description below, so make sure to follow us on everything there just to keep up to date when we do release stuff. Brian, is there anything else that I missed or anything you want to say before we let these people go home?
Yeah, David, there's just something I want to say really quick. I did my own little short film set in the world of Willy Wonka.
Oh my God. Factory. How did I forget this? To talk about this. You are way more intrinsically linked to Willy Wonka than I remembered. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot this. Go ahead.
So my short film was about Charlie Bucket after the events of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and he is paid a visit by a private investigator who would be Daniel Craig to me, what he is to the Knives Out movie.
Yeah. Because
my private investigator is played by the sensational Brian Cully, playing the character of John Fremember. Yep, you heard it. John Fremember pays Charlie Bucket, and now grown-up Charlie Bucket, a visit to investigate the events of the missing children from the Chocolate Factory. And let's just say Charlie, played by the great John Tormey, has a little bit more information he's not so brave to admit to.
And the next natural step in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory universe, I think because you get on to Paul King and you say, I've got an idea.
Because there's so many conspiracies about what happened to the children in the Chocolate Factory, and let's just say John Fremember's on the case. And I think definitely I even got I got a couple of props, with the hat and the Wonka bar. Yeah, definitely. And it's called Pure Imagination as well. So a little tie in to the world of.
Is that available anywhere for people to see, or is that locked in the vault?
Oh, it's exclusive. But I'll make sure you have a copy.
I want to see a copy of that. I remember that so well. Yeah. Wow. I can't believe we went nearly the whole episode. I can't believe you nearly forgot that. We nearly didn't talk about it.
Nearly didn't talk about it. And hey, David, by the way, you did that closing exceptionally well. I hope you know that.
It all just comes with practice, Brian. I have it all written down on my hand. It gets difficult. I have to do two hands sometimes when it gets a bit long.
Yeah. You're like you're looking at your hand facing with the veins, and then the second hand, and then you go down with the
And
back
flip
of your
them over.
hand,
Yeah. It's gonna be bad when I start writing on the bottom of my foot as well to remember.
and then you turn around to look at the mirror because you've got it written on your back as well.
A bit tattooed. Yeah. Thanks, Brian.
Here, man. Thank you